we're at 3 stations, we need 9. You've got a lot of people right now with a lot of different ideas. You've got a group that wants to tax reallocate. You have another group that wants to, do a tax revenue forward, comes to the fire district. You have an assembly member who put out a bill that he knows isn't going to go anywhere, but still proposing it, looking like he's doing something. You've got a group out on Bethel Island that wants to run volunteers. You have Brentwood that wants their second station. You have a group in Oakley that wants the Summer Lake station. How's your head not exploded?
So let me start back, and I know we want to try to answer questions as quick as we can, but this is a very important subject. First of all, I think it's very important to note that as the fire chief, and I believe the board members will feel the same way, is that we really appreciate and value that people are trying to figure out a solution for the organization. We are in a difficult situation, and I appreciate individuals and or groups trying to do what they can to help remedy the situation. The way that I assess this is it's got to be in 3 steps for us to approach this, and I'll get to these other ideas and methods and pathways to get where we need to go. People have been very clear, is that the district needs to live within its means.
Sure.
People have criticized, and I understand from the perspective from the outside looking in, of, the district doesn't appear to be transparent. The district doesn't appear to have a plan. And those actually are one of the 2 highest things outside of safety for my members and taking care of our members and communicating effectively with the public. It is, I want to create transparency, brand new website, we're streaming our meetings, we're throwing information on there, our finance meetings are public forum, our outreach meetings are public forum. I try to be as accessible as I can, so transparency is huge for me. Secondarily is a plan. We have not had a plan. They're like, we give you money, what are you going to do with it? What are the steps and the pathways?
It's kind of important, right?
I believe it is. I believe it's really important. And that is why starting in January, I'm going to be working with the board and the community. I'm going to label it as a strategic plan. How do we strategically, what are the steps to get us from where we are today to that 9 stations? We have a master plan that's a real good vision plan. It tells us kind of what we want to be, what thresholds and timeframes we should meet, but it doesn't give you the pathway to get there. So starting in January, I want to identify the steps that we need to take. That's step 1. Number 2 is associating a cost and today's cost and try to analyze or project what it will be in 7 years and have like a 7-year plan that's reevaluated every 5 years so we can keep current with it and build strategically what our plan is. And then once we can get that in staging of what's our steps, what do we want to be, that's community buy-in, it's the organization, and we're all working together to find what we want to be and how do we get to 9. And then what does it cost, those 2 steps, then it's how do we fund it. And that gets to really answering your question. All the different individuals have a lot of different ideas. It's actually becoming one of our problems. And the reason it's becoming one of our problems is because, let's say we have 5 different recommended pathways or solutions to fix the problem. See, our community, 20% of our community all subscribe to one of them and think that answer is right.
Because they still all have to vote on one of them.
They're saying, well, what happens, what we're finding is that people say, I believe in option A is the best pathway.
Yeah.
So that excludes 80% of the other, because they're saying, no, this is what we need to do, we will not support that. And so what I'm realizing rapidly is that all of these options are a problem. Secondarily is a lot of the options that are happening outside of the fire district. They're not coming through finance, they're not going through the board, they're not being driven by the fire district. And as the ambassador of the organization, and as a board, as we have a fire board, is I need to analyze and make a recommendation. I'm the general manager, I'm the CEO of this organization. I need to analyze and look and work with our finance committee and say this is viable, work with legal, what is viable. And we need to make the recommendation, we have to drive and execute support and then manage whatever the end result is. So our only ability right now is doing, a parcel tax or going back to the people for money. And I believe that any option that is currently out there, at one point or another, is still going to come back to that for a portion thereof. To make it sustainable in this system, all these other options potentially would impact or going back to the people for asking them to support. So with that is this. I am grateful and thankful that there are many individuals and groups that are trying to find a solution for our problem. I would ask that it all gets channeled through and worked through the fire department to let the fire department not only endorse it and run it. When we figure out...
And see if it's even legal.
Well, I mean, legal and realistic.
Sure.
And so concepts are great, but reality is something different. And getting from concept reality, it's very challenging to do.
Yeah.
So we may need to have a hybrid. We may need to find a way to say, for example, we've eliminated all these other options because they're not either legal, they're not feasible. So maybe we need to go for a parcel tax. But if these ideas were ever to come to reality, then it would sunset or close. Or and again, this all has to be through board direction. It has to be recommended through our finance committee. And this is something we have to work through, but we have to do it in community.
Yes.
And so the point I'm trying to make is this, is that the district's got to drive whatever initiative it is. I need to drive what that initiative is. It needs to be channeled through the fire districts. We're not to be the ones that are going to manage it, work it, and communicate it. Right now, I'm working on doing a lot of internal house cleaning, making it a refined organization, administratively and operationally as sound as we can inside. Starting in January, because I got to get through a budget. I'm going to get a final budget done in September. I'm working on that every single day. And my goal is to be as transparent as I possibly can, know our capabilities, define what we're going to be doing in 17, 18, and years to come financially. Yeah. I'm building a capital replacement plan, equipment for facilities and equipment, which we've never had. That will be done in September also. And so once I get my budget done, it's building a strategic plan, the steps that we go, and then we're going to work on how we fund it. Yeah. So again, I appreciate it, but we need to work it through the district.